Clay remembers, every fingerprint pressed into it, every breath hovering above it, every intention, patient or cruel, folded into its form. Across cultures, there is a recurring fear that when humans shape something too carefully, when we give it form, heat, and purpose, something looks back. Tonight we're exploring the Daemones Ceramici, spirits said to dwell within fired clay, pottery, figurines, idols, and vessels. Not born, not summoned, but invited. Welcome back, witches and wanderers, to the Morbid Witch Podcast. I'm your host, Kari, and tonight we're stepping into a quieter kind of horror. One that doesn't scream, doesn't chase, and doesn't bleed. Instead, it waits. Tonight we're deep diving into the Daemones Ceramici, ceramic demons, kiln spirits, clay-bound entities, whispered about in fragments of classical texts, medieval folklore, and occult theory. This is not one single myth. This is a pattern. The term Daemones Ceramici is Latin, loosely translating to demons of clay, or ceramic spirits. They are not demons in the Christian sense. In the classical world, daemon meant something closer to a spirit, a force, an intermediary between worlds. Daemones Ceramici were believed to inhabit pottery, statues, ritual vessels, funerary urns, figurines, and idols. They were not always malicious, but they were never neutral. Clay is earth and water. It is shaped while soft, vulnerable, obedient, and then hardened by fire. This process mirrors creation myths across cultures. Humans shaped from clay, life sparked by divine breath, permanence born from heat. Clay exists between states, and liminality is where spirits thrive. To ancient peoples, clay was not dead matter. It was potential. Roman writers referenced household spirits, lares, penetes, and unnamed daemones, believed to inhabit domestic objects. Pottery, especially ritual or funerary vessels, was thought capable of housing spiritual presence. Certain ceramics were never washed, never broken, never repurposed. Breaking one was believed to release what lived inside. Kilns were dangerous places. They were hot. They were unpredictable. They destroyed as often as they created. In folklore, kilns became symbolic gateways, places where earth passed through fire and emerged transformed. Potters made offerings before firings. They whispered names. They avoided speaking certain words. Some believe spirits were born in the kiln itself, forged alongside the pottery. One of the most unsettling beliefs surrounding the Daemones Ceramici is this: the spirit does not come from outside, it comes from the maker. Anger pressed into clay, grief smoothed into curves, obsession carved into detail. The vessel becomes a container not just for contents, but for emotion. This belief echoes later occult traditions that warn intent shapes outcomes. Small clay figurines appear across cultures as votive offerings, protective idols, and burial companions. But many myths warn against eyes molded too carefully. A figurine that feels warm, one that changes position, one that cracks without falling. These were signs of a Daemones Ceramici awakening. During the medieval period, ceramic spirits became associated with alchemy, homunculus smiths, and artificial life. Alchemists believed life could be coaxed from matter through correct balance and heat. Clay vessels were sometimes sealed and buried, believed to incubate spirits. The church condemned these practices, not because they were impossible, but because they were unauthorized creation. In many traditions, ashes were stored in ceramic urns. The belief wasn't just symbolic, it was practical. Clay was thought to hold the soul's echo. Disturbing an urn could invite dreams, illness, or haunting. A Daemones Ceramici, formed through proximity to death, was considered especially dangerous, bound not by intent, but by memory. The Daemones Ceramici echo through global mythology. The Jewish golem legends, Japanese sukumugami, Chinese spirit vessels, Indian huacas, and African inkisi containers. Different names, same fear, that crafted objects might wake up. Folklore describes warning signs as hairline cracks appearing overnight, tapping sounds, heat without fire, dreams involving clay, fire, or hands, and the sensation of being watched by an object. The solution was rarely destruction. Breaking the vessel could release the spirit fully. Instead, rituals focused on appeasement or burial. The Daemones Ceramici represent a deep anxiety that humans are not meant to create permanence. We borrow fire, we borrow earth, and sometimes something borrows us back. These myths warn that creation carries responsibility and consequences. Even today, artists speak of sculptures that feel wrong, pieces that disturb viewers, and objects that shouldn't be displayed. Museums report items moved without cause. Collectors refuse certain artifacts. We pretend these are coincidences, but folklore remembers. The Daemones Ceramici do not rage. They endure. They sit on shelves. They gather dust. They wait. And if they exist at all, they exist because someone once believed their hands could shape more than matter. Thank you for listening to the Morbid Witch podcast. If you enjoyed this deep dive into forgotten spirits and dangerous creation, be sure to follow the show and share it with those who listen closely to silence. Until next time, stay strange, stay spooky, and remember, the shadows are always watching.